So many things contribute to the hypervigilance of the narcissistic relationship. It's a power play, straight up. The narcissistic person waits for you to make the tiniest mistake or misstep or misspeak, and bam, they are on you. You don't choose exactly the right word, you don't remember the exact right date of something, and the gotcha hits you. But they don't just stop if you say, oh shoot, you're right, I did get that date wrong. It is next Wednesday. Most of them are know-it-alls, as a matter of course, but some are much worse than others. Grandiose narcissistic folks are often know-it-alls just because they're so prototypically narcissistic. Vulnerable narcissistic people kind of do it in this grudging way, like, oh, they think everyone is so stupid, but that their great genius is somehow unappreciated. But as a rule, narcissistic people do believe that they're smarter and better than other people. I know that deep down they don't really believe that, but superficially they do. So they either dominate conversations, become contemptuous about what other people know or don't know, or they feel compelled to give you unsolicited advice or their wisdom or knowledge. Narcissistic people are what we can call toxic correctors. For example, they will contemptuously and snobbily deride your pronunciation of something. They'll say, it's Hermes, not Hermes. It's Houston Street, not Houston Street. And I was very young, and I was on a date. And I didn't know how to pronounce challah, like the bread, right? And I ordered the French toast made with challah bread, and I said challah. And the date laughed and laughed at me and rolled his eyes. I remember feeling so ashamed and so stupid. But narcissistic people will correct you about anything, from the name of hotel to a historical fact. But this isn't the same as the gotcha.
Well, actually, Dr. Ramani, that's what I like to call it. The actually. Isn't it obnoxious? This kind of oppositional behavior she's describing, one term I've come across for it is countering, which is very aggressive, almost compulsive contradicting of the same person again and again. There's also something called splitting hairs, which is what you get when somebody is just really, really looking for a reason to quibble with you. Doesn't matter what. And it's often a baiting tactic, but it's also something that you are likely to experience if a narcissistic person sees you as a threat or as competition in some way. So really, it is a compliment.
It's the enjoying in a way that it has somehow brought us down a notch. Especially if we're people who take some pride or are quite organized about something. They revel in the mistake finding and in the shaming. But the gotcha is more often around us missing a detail, a fact, or it's even a cruel jab at something we don't know. And in this way, narcissistic relationships can sap our courage. We often end up a lot more inhibited in a variety of situations, fearful of saying things out of fear, not just of getting it wrong, but getting caught in that perpetual shaming, humiliating gotcha. Remember, pointing out your error, especially in a contemptuous manner, has nothing to do with solutions. It has to do with shaming you so they can keep their power. Have you had the experience where if you are too successful in your relationship, then the narcissistic person either gets their little digs in and insults you and minimizes what you did or are doing, or they make passive-aggressive comments or plays the victim, or becomes really competitive with you. They may say things like, well, I guess it wasn't that hard to do that, or doesn't everyone get to that phase if they do what you're doing long enough, or okay, great, I guess now we have to throw you a parade, right? The narcissistic people want you to be more. They want you to live in a better house, or have a job that they could brag about, or go to the right school, or have the better lifestyle, win the prize. But then, if you did do those things and succeed brilliant like that, they may then insult you, or again, poke at you, or passive aggressive you, just like I said. It kind of feels like a trap, doesn't it? So I once remember a narcissistic relationship I was in. In that relationship, I think if I showed up wearing a neon sign and a basket of fruit and flowers on my head, this person still wouldn't notice me. But they did notice me, especially when I was doing well professionally. At the time I was in this relationship, it was a long time ago, I did not understand narcissism. So I thought it was because they thought I was cool and worth being with when I succeeded at something. But actually, they wanted to either poach the connections from me in this new thing I was doing, or they wanted to ultimately tell me how they already know that person I was working with, or that person I was working with was stupid, or what I was doing was actually ridiculous. We exist to substantiate them as apply, but if we do too good, then we trigger their fragile ego. And in some cases, especially with vulnerable narcissistic folks, if you succeed, The narcissistic person may have some fears of abandonment. The sad part is that the narcissistic person can't just be vulnerable with their vulnerability and fragility and say, I'm so happy for you. I guess my own neurosis is that I'm worried that I can't keep up. And it can often make your accomplishment or sharing any accomplishment or sharing any success you have an exhausting enterprise. And it can make your success scary because with it may come the abandonment or the withdrawing of the narcissistic person.